right, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Brussels, a very warm welcome to FI Campus 2025. Welcome, everybody. I love the energy. This is a very special occasion, a special edition, because as you will have seen already, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of FI Compass. So I think throughout the next 3 days, we're going to have this celebratory mood. We're going to have this positive energy because we are going to be reflecting on the key achievements in the world of EU shared management funds. On the second day, we're also going to be looking ahead into the future and also have the Showcase Awards ceremony, which has become a staple in this event. And we're also going to be able to dive deep into the different topics, since you all chose your parallel sessions upon registering. So you will get to dive deep into the specifics and into different instruments. So a lot of you have traveled from across Europe, so I wanted to actually start by hearing, actually, where did you all come from? Where have you traveled from? If you could say out loud, where have you been coming from? All right. Ooh. I mean, okay. I know I'm wearing a microphone, but there's more than 200 of you on the audience, so I could have heard a few more. I've heard Bulgaria, I've heard Croatia, I heard Reunion. Nice. Anywhere else? Portugal over here. Very good. Lithuania, Germany, Poland. We have a big Polish delegation here. Italy, Slovenia. Amazing. Slovakia as well, of course, Peter. We don't forget and we don't confuse them. Amazing. So we have members from across the EU represented over here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ana Gumbau. I'm a Spaniard living in Brussels. Not the best time of the year to be living in Belgium, but it's okay. The weather outside and also the strikes happening outside won't be an impediment for us to have a great time here. So thank you so much to all of you for making it, despite the circumstances and the logistical constraints that some of us may have had. We're going to make sure that this event is worth your while for the next 3 days. So a few things. First of all, if you want to stay up to date with everything that is happening in the event program, the list of the speakers, discover the relevant publications related to FI Compass, the floor plans, showcase submissions, feedback form. You have here you just saw the program in front of you, but this is what you need if you want to stay up to date with everything that is going to be happening in the next just about 3 days. So this is the app for our event. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can either scan the QR code or go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on what you're using, and download the Cvent Events app, and then look for FI Campus 2025 and add your data that you registered from, so the email with which you registered to the event. And you'll be able to use its many features and also connect with the other participants. Also, since a lot of you are going to ask me what's the Wi-Fi code, you already have it with you. The name of the channel is Autograph Conference. The username, you can see it in the screen. So next up, remember that we will also have the Showcase Award for FI Compass, in which we're going to be celebrating success stories of EU shared management financial instruments. We're going to be listening to different stories of impact, collaboration, innovation, and the winning entries will receive the Showcase trophy. You will find the 13 projects that have been nominated, showcased. If you have seen at the end of the room, there's this series of tablets over there. You will be able to see the different projects and get a sense of them. So I would invite you during the coffee break to start having a look, to start getting some inspiration before the voting begins, because you will have a say on who the winner is. And precisely because it's the 10th anniversary of FI Compass, there's a history wall just so on my left, meaning your right side of the room. It's the room where we're going to be having some of our coffee breaks and where we just had lunch. There's a history wall over there in which you are going to be able to see the biggest milestones of these past 10 years. I've seen already some familiar faces from the audience that were featured there and in the video, so I look forward also to getting to know all of you over the next couple of days. There's also a photo booth over there, and I would encourage you to use any pictures that you take, any memories from today's event, to post it online and use the hashtag FICampus, so that we can get to see all of your memories, all of your highlights from what's going to be a memorable event. So a couple final logistical points. First of all, because I know that's the other question that always comes up, all the materials, all the slides, presentations, etc., are going to be available on the FI Compass website after the event, so don't worry about that. Also, the plenary is being recorded and will be publicly available. For those of you in person, you will all have your badge with you. It's important that as long as we are here in this floor and in the premises of the event, that you wear it at all times, because otherwise you will not be able to be let in. So please keep the badge close to you at all times. And one last thing, apparently someone during the lunchtime found a watch. So I don't know if either of you, look at your wrists. If you happen to be missing your watch, I heard that it's a female watch, if there's such thing. But if that's you, if you're missing your watch, you can find it at the registration desk, because the organizers left that for you. So then, let's start with the first one of our sessions. Paving the way, 10 years of FI Compass and the evolution of financial instruments. The speakers who will be joining me here on stage are long-standing members of the FI Compass community. You will have already recognized as well some of them in the little videos and showcases that we had. So I look forward to hearing about the key achievements that they feel that FI Compass has successfully obtained so far. We will also have time, by the way, to ask questions to our panelists, so you can already start thinking what would you like our panelists to address. So let me welcome them one-on-one here on stage, and please invite each one of them with a big round of applause, starting with the head of Financial Instruments and International Financial Institutions Relations Unit at the European Commission's DG Regio, Jonathan Dennis. Welcome. So Jonathan, you can join me over here. Welcome. Also with us is the head of Advisory Financial Institutions Division at the European Investment Bank, Frank Lee. Welcome, Frank. Over here next to Jonathan. Joining us as well is the head of service for financial instruments at the Ministry of Regional Development and EU Funds of Croatia, Diana Vezjak. Welcome. Diana, over here. Welcome. Joining us as well is the CIO and Vice Chairman of the Board of the Slovak Investment Holding, Peter Dietrich. Welcome. Peter can join me next to Diana. With us is also the Executive Director of SIS Credit in Bulgaria, Martina Grigorova. Welcome. Welcome, Martina. So next to Peter. And last but definitely not the least is the head of Europe and products at the Investitionsbank Berlin in Germany, Irene Schucht. Welcome. And Irene, you can join me next to Martina. So the way that this session is going to go, we're going to start with two presentations, one from Jonathan's side and the second one from Frank. And then I have a few questions prepared for all of you, but ideally we should have ample time for questions from our audience. So we will reserve some good time for it, otherwise you'll have to cope with my questions. So I'm sure you probably have much better and much more insightful ones. So let's get started with you, Jonathan. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before I start about the 10 years of FI Compass, I'd like to take a few moments to remember Helmut von Glasenapp, who was the Secretary General of the European Long-Term Investors Association, who died recently and far too soon. Helmut was a member of the FI Compass community. He participated, he spoke at our events. He was a friend of cohesion policy financial instruments and a friend of cohesion policy. And the thing that I will miss about him most is that he was invariably the person who would ask me the question I couldn't answer. And I will, ironically perhaps, I will miss that most of all. But 10 years of FI Compass, it's a long time and it's a short time. And as all our sort of timescales have been messed up by COVID, I think one thing that happened to FI Compass during COVID, that I think there was a before COVID and an after COVID for FI Compass. I think before COVID it was doing very good things, spreading knowledge, but somehow COVID sort of forced us to do things in new ways. And I was looking at the FI Compass website the other day and seeing that basically our podcasts started during COVID because we had, the Commission was amending the regulations. It seemed like every month at the beginning of COVID. And we needed to explain how financial instruments could take advantage of this. And the podcasts were an excellent way of doing that. And then we also started doing those dreadful webinars when, I mean, we had hundreds of people on the COVID one. We had hundreds of people on the audit methodology one a couple of years later, where we all sat in our offices or more likely homes listening in. But this was a way that we communicated. And Frank will give you lots of statistics on the last 10 years after me. And then witnessing the impact on the ground, and here you can see that bankers and civil servants like putting on hard hats as much as politicians do. And we've seen a big increase in the use of financial instruments from 1420, when FI Compass was set up, to 2127. We also saw, because of COVID, a massive increase in 2020 and 2021 of the use of financial instruments, primarily supporting working capital to keep businesses alive during the pandemic. Then we celebrate success, and here's the Showcase Award, which is very, very exciting, and we have another 13 excellent projects which you can look at the back or look at on the app, as Anna said. But the other thing we do in celebrating success is case studies of successful financial instruments. One of my favourites is the fund in La Réunion, which we've which is a great effort and really successful. Connecting and networking. I mean, this is our primary way of, or our most visible way of connecting and networking. And I'm always struck, as Anna said, by the energy, by the enthusiasm of people who come to FI Campus. And it's become such a sort of well-known event that we are now getting more and more requests from people to actually say, can I present at FI Campus? And unfortunately, normally we have to say no, but don't let that put you off. We will still we will listen to you, and if we can fit you into the program, we will do so. And finally, teamworking. And I think part of the teamworking and part of the strength that I feel that we do with FI Compass is that we listen. We listen to what you say in the surveys that we conduct every 2 or 3 years. We listen to you here. We listen to your questions. We listen to your complaints, your cri de coeur, your telling us the things you can do, the things you can't do, and we try to tailor our program and our outputs to deliver what you want in implementing financial instruments on the ground. It is a great community we have established here, and looking at the opening video before we started, there are lots of faces on those videos who are still coming this year, which is terrific, because it shows that the community has a resilience, and it's growing and learning, and we are. I am a great believer in continuous education, lifelong learning. That, as we say colloquially in English, every day is a school day, and this is a lot of what FI Compass is about. It's about practitioners, managing authorities, national promotional banks, other stakeholders, learning from one another. We had a terrific event in Berlin to launch our two models on innovation in September, and I learnt in the first session, where IBB presented its what it had done on loans and equity to support innovation. I learnt more in that hour than I have done for some things in the last 5 years. And it was a proof that you can do things, and FI Compass is about taking the people who have done things and demonstrating that you can do things and showing it to the others who want to do it. And that's the strength of this community. Now, I am really in awe of this panel. These are really impressive characters who have achieved a lot in the development of financial instruments and cohesion policy. I am really looking forward to listening to them. So to enable us all to do that, I will finish now. Thank you very much indeed. Keep up the energy and have a great campus.
Thank you very much to Jonathan Dennis for getting us started for this first presentation. I fully agree that this energy of this community is just contagious. It's the second time I got to meet some of you, and I'm always in awe indeed. And I'm very excited to hear from the rest of the panel as well. So now we're going to be moving on to the next one of our presentations. I would like to invite Frank Lee on behalf of the European Investment Bank.
So, good afternoon. Welcome to everyone. Indeed, as Anna said, it's really good to see you here. I was a bit afraid most of you would not show up. But indeed, hopefully the 10th anniversary is a good reason to come. Not to mention the good food and wine and other opportunities you'll have being here. But indeed, a celebration of what we've achieved so far. And to be honest, it's quite difficult to, the question is, what's been the impact? And this is always, for those of you that work in the world of impact and outputs and all these sorts of things, it's always a difficult question to answer. Personally, the impact has been a bit more grey hair, a bit more weight around the waist, glasses that I now have to wear a bit more often than I would like to. A beard, actually, where I was looking at pictures, I didn't have a beard before, now I have a grey beard. So, yeah. From my personal experience, I guess it has not been good, but otherwise, intellectually, it has been excellent. Stimulation. I think the impact, the numbers speak for themselves in terms of what Jonathan was saying. The uptake of financial instruments over the last decade has been significant, I think, and hopefully you would all agree. The number of national promotional institutions that we see on the ground is also significantly increased over the last 10 years. We are now at a point where we don't stand up here telling you how things need to be done. It's being really done the other way around. And that has also led to different ways in which we've taken the program forward. But I just wanted to present to you a couple of key statistics, which is, I guess, more on outputs perhaps than impact, but okay, it depends on how you want to interpret it. So let the numbers speak for themselves. So the first number, this is the number of people that are registered as users of FECompass, and the part of the community, as we would call it. Clearly, the community is much larger than this, but this is a good number to rely on because these are people that have signed up, that have registered, that have committed in a way to using the materials and attending our events, downloading our documents, etc. 5,000, just over 5,000 is where we stood recently, and I think that's an excellent achievement in terms of building a community amongst you. And here are some photos of that community, including our podcast event I see from last year. Event participants, and this is a number over 10 years, so impressive though. 20,000 people have attended our events over the last 10 years. Hopefully that means you've had a lot of networking opportunities and opportunities to meet each other, opportunities to hear from us and from yourselves in terms of what's going on the ground, share your experiences and learn from each other. And here are some examples of those kinds of events that we've had. And as I was saying earlier, the types of events we've had over the last 10 years has really evolved quite significantly. If we look back to the launch event in 2015, it was sort of a number of commissioners standing up here preaching the world of financial instruments, telling everyone you need to do more with financial instruments. And it took a few years before that really started to take off. We then moved to more thematic workshops where we were talking about specific themes, specific instruments, specific types of things. We moved into geographical events where we were looking at things happening in a particular region or in a particular country. We then had events that were focused on new publications coming out, on new model financial instruments that were being developed. And the last set of events, I guess, over the last few years has really been things like knowledge hubs, as we call them, which is actually where we, as I was saying before, we're learning more from you than the other way around. And this is where we're trying to pull the experiences in a bit more detail from those of you on the ground. The practitioners on the ground are actually doing this on a day-to-day basis and have lots of experience and knowledge to share with others. And I think the Knowledge Hub has been a very successful tool in which we've able to gather that sharing of information and knowledge and then disseminating it across the wider community. Now, the next statistic I'm going to show, I'm not actually going to put up the slide just yet because I'm going to let you guess how many people have visited our website in the last 10 years. Now, for those of you who know a few things about websites, you probably have an idea of more or less what would be a successful website count. So I'm going to put some numbers out there, see what you think. 10 years, how many of you would say that 100,000 visits in 10 years would be a good number? Put up your hand. Geez, you're very difficult to impress. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Anna. You're a knowledgeable person, so there you go. 100,000. That's 10,000 a year. Okay. I imagine the rest of you think it's probably more than that, right? Okay. 200,000. How many do I have? Do I hear 250,000? No? Anyone want to shout out a number that they think could be more than that? 300? Geez, from 300 to a million. Okay, that's ambitious. A million. That's 100,000 a year. Visits to web. Not many websites have that statistic. The number is pretty close.
Wow.
Pretty close. And congratulations to Chiara and her team who actually have designed that website and made some changes in the last year or two to make it even more useful, I would say, for users, and we have statistics to demonstrate that it has become more useful. And when we look at the heat map of how many things people actually look at, it's definitely much more used, much more user-friendly in our opinion. And as a result, next statistic and last one, sorry, I won't bore you for much longer. Content downloads. So 909,000 people visited the website. Now that could have been me visiting that website every day, and I would have been registered as probably, I don't know, 50,000 users in one person, right? But did I download anything? Was I actually really interested in what was on that website? So content downloads, 10,000. You guys are so... You always expected me to go with a low-ball estimate, no, aren't you? Okay. A bit more, 20,000? 90,000, who said that? Jeez. Ah, the man from the Netherlands, yes, okay. Well, you were wrong. That's pretty impressive, actually. In fact, this is more impressive than the previous number for a number of reasons. This is actually only the downloads of publications. This is not including downloads or views, let's say, of videos, newsletters, things like that. So we are talking about actual publications, the number of times these things are downloaded by the users. And the number one, as you can see on the left-hand side at the top, is one of the gap analysis that we did some years ago now in the market for SMEs support. As you would imagine, I guess the biggest interest in financial instruments comes in the field of access to finance for SMEs. But this report was downloaded the most number of times, followed quite closely by other very interesting publications, including the instruments that John mentioned earlier, the model instruments, and particularly the ones that are looking at combinations with grants. On the videos, interesting actually, the most viewed video is a very basic video of what is a financial instrument. I don't know if that gives you an idea of, going back to the 909,000 people that visit the website, what they're actually looking at. But I think this was also a theme that came out in one of our recent events where we felt there are practitioners out there that are very detailed in the knowledge, want to know really quite specific things, state aid issues, procurement issues, combination issues, but there's also an audience out there at a higher level, I suppose, at the political level, that's really still needs to understand what financial instruments is all about. And so maybe that's a sign of why this video has been looked at so many times. The coronavirus response initiative, which John mentioned, this was hugely successful and done at a time when we couldn't actually meet physically, so it was also an occasion of one of our largest webinars that we managed to launch at the time. And in terms of stories looked at, energy efficiency program in multi-apartment buildings in Latvia came out, it seems, as one of the most viewed stories and read stories from our newsletters. Just quickly to finish off, we did a survey actually at the end of 23, I think it was, where we had a number of questions that were asked, as probably most of you know who participated in. This summarizes essentially the impact that we think is quite demonstrative of what we have managed to achieve with FeeCompass. And more or less a third of people strongly agree that we've managed to build a good, strong knowledge base and technical and practical skills through the FeeCompass work. And here are a couple of the quotes that we managed to get from people. These are from videos that we made in terms of what did they feel FeeCompass actually did for them. Has it helped them? Has it helped them build knowledge and experience? And this is actually quite interesting because it's taking comments from a managing authority, from a fund of fund, and then obviously from a final beneficiary as well, actually, which is interesting. Right, this is my last slide, and it's essentially a chance for you to put something on Slido. We're looking for one word from you, please, to put into Slido that you feel, what does FeeCompass mean to you? And here is your scanner again, QR code. And maybe the colleagues can put up the, start showing the results of the word cloud. Okay, they're keeping us in suspense. Maybe that's because none of you have put in a word yet, I don't know. Ah, knowledge. Knowledge and community, fighting neck and neck. Opportunity, oh, interesting. Okay. One-stop shop, I love that one. Not quite sure what it means these days, but it's used everywhere. Unity. Platformation, fantastic word. Inspiration. Food and wine, absolutely. Hashtag Fee Campus, I saw. Vision. A wiser use of public money. Expertise. Compass. Okay. Connection. Non-grant, absolutely. Yes, fun. Oh, thank you for putting my name up there. Excellent. Gone away. Good. All right. No. Knowledge, community, networking. I think that really does sum up quite well. I hope it obviously does reflect your thoughts on this. And so, yeah, I'll close now. And congratulations again for what we have achieved together. I hope you do enjoy the next couple of days of networking and sharing experience. Enjoy the food and wine, absolutely. And yes, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank, for this presentation. These are impressive numbers indeed. And I may or may not have been among those who looked at some of the publications, including the water financial instruments, so that I can prepare for today's event. So very useful resource. Thanks a lot. Right. So actually, I would want to take the question that you have asked the audience about what FA Compass means to you, and I would maybe like to get a first round of responses. If you would select, let's say, like one word to summarize what FA Compass means to you, what would it be? Maybe we can start with you, Diana, since you're already prepared.
I would say guidance.
Guidance. Mm-hmm. What else do we have here? Peter. Or Irene, you can go ahead.
Exchange of experiences.
Mm-hmm. Guidance, exchange of experiences.
Building community.
Building community, I love it. And Peter?
Networking is the right word.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And Frank, Jonathan? You had to pick up one.
Food and wine.
You took mine. Fun.
Fun. Love it. Excellent. So then let's hear from some of the people who have been involved and played an important role in this evolution of financial instruments across Europe. And I would like to start with you, Diana, because you come from the Ministry of Regional Development and EU funds in Croatia, which is the managing authority in Croatia in charge of planning and implementing the regional development policies. And Croatia developed its financial instruments very soon after it joined the EU. Croatia joined the EU in 2013, and already in the 2014-2022 period, it was remarkably fast the way it adopted and implementing the 10 active financial instruments. So what's the success story behind it? What kind of mindset shifts internally or strategic decisions that you made from going, from a complete newcomer to being such an active member and such a creative user of these instruments in the past 10 years?
I would say it was the decision to do everything by ourselves. Mm-hmm. We didn't outsource anything. to anybody, and it's not that we were so crazy brave. It was just the fact that nobody else wanted to do it. So we had like a decade experience of pre-accession grants. So all the ministries were heavily involved in the grants. So we, as a managing authority, we didn't have any choice. So we had to do everything, and it turned out to be just fine because we were kind of doing everything and nothing. So we were developing procedures, coordinating everybody. So we program, we delegate, we design, we contract, we select, we implement, we control. So we have also the management verification. So in this small team within my FI unit, we were growing and learning by doing. And also we had the luxury, although being a small country, we had the two strong national promotional institutions. So the HBOR, the Croatian Development Bank, and HAMAG is a Croatian SME agency, and they both had more than 30 years of experience. HBOR in the long-term loans, and the SME agency that was started in the 90s as a guarantee agency. So we had actors to play with, and we were learning by doing, starting small scale, piloting, and the other that was not planned, but we were so lucky that we didn't have this huge fund of funds like the other countries. We did 10 specific separate financial instruments. So we started small scale piloting and increasing. So we are also celebrating today because this is 10 years of that of the date that we first adopted our first ex-ante analysis, that we were so rapidly increasing. So we started with 200 million and ended up placing 1.6 billion euros. So we increased the allocation 20 times, changing the ex-ante 9 times. And of course, everything was willingness to learn from everybody and sharing our knowledge with everybody else. So when we started, first I have to thank to the colleagues from Lithuania and Latvia. We had the peer-to-peer exchange with Latvians. We had with the Lithuanians, we had the multi-regional technical assistance. And over 1 year, we visited, I think it was 5 study tours. We visited Portugal, Spain, Poland, France, and everybody was so we were so lucky because we were the last to join. But everybody was so good to us and saying us what they did wrong and what they would do differently. So when we visited all these countries, so we kind of scooped all the best practices and just copy-pasted it with us. And of course, there is the FI Campus for us. Compass was the invaluable. Because if you look, there are only 2 commercial seminars that you can attend, like Introduction to Financial Instruments and Advanced Financial Instruments. So my growing team was growing, and I didn't have any other education to send them except the FI Campus. And of course, we were one of these heavy downloaders. We used all the models off-the-shelf instruments. We didn't tailor-made them to our needs. And of course, the Knowledge Hub. This is the best thing ever. If you are ever invited, please accept the call. This is the wonderful opportunity to share your views. As Jonathan rightfully said, they really listen. The Commission, auditors, everybody writing the regulation, they really listen your practical, what you finding in the implementation certain difficulties. They really do listen and they simplify it, and every time the regulation gets better and better because of what they listen, the feedback from us from the ground. So this is really, to me, the best thing that could ever happen to us, because we were, again, raising our auditors. So that's why I said guidance, because all of these resources we used to have what we call the simple and stupid templates, not to have any gold plating and make it complicated, and we would even make it so simple and straightforward. Then when we would discuss with our audit authority or our financial intermediaries, they wouldn't believe us that it's possible to be so simple. And then we would have to write to Jonathan or the FI unit, please confirm. So lastly, like the anecdote, we had some resources returned from the previous perspective, and we wanted to, we invested in the 3Cs Innovation Fund. And our ladies in the accounting of the treasury is like, but no, you cannot. These are not national money. Nowhere in the CPR it says that this is a national money that you can use again. You have to return this to the commission. So I always apologize for this stupid question. But when I'm saying, yes, but you can, they don't believe me. So I have to write to the commission and then commission confirm, but yeah, it's really the national money. So I would say also the Croatian Association of Banks. I was once, I want to brag with the numbers as well as Frank. I was one counting. We had more than 40 funding agreements, both level 1 and level 2. So we have excellent cooperation with all the banks. Bank market in Croatia is very developed. They all have EU desk, let's say. They are part of the association. We negotiate with all of them. We share the knowledge with them. So over 40 agreements with them. All 17 banks are participating in at least one of our instruments. And of course our auditors now, who were also using all these guidances, has proved that it can be so simple and better than grants. So they are mostly, when we started, they had this fear. But no, because the regulation from 2007, 2013 to 14-20 was changed. And we were the first, not having fund of funds, we were the first to certify funds to the commission. And our audit authority, no way, we cannot. We were the youngest member state. Nobody else dared to do it because it's so complicated. And we were explaining, but no, it's really simple. It's just advanced, 25%, no questions asked. No. We called all the other auditors from the other member states. You cannot do it. It's too dangerous. We won't survive this audit. But after 10 years, we are not enemies anymore. We are friends. We learn from each other. They have the audit of financial instrument departments. So I would say it's financial instruments are becoming very, very popular because people from my unit are spreading. So 2 persons left to the Ministry of Agriculture. So now we have the EFRD, the Rural Development Financial Instruments. People in the ESF are now here with us. They also have, they took over the microfinancing from ERDF. And we have 14,000 satisfied final recipients that were pushing above my pay grade, the political level. So,
Thank you, Diana.
so
can you wrap up? Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks a lot. I like this concept of not being enemies anymore. We're friends who learn from each other now. I think that probably summarizes very well our relation. Now, let's move to Peter, because one of the things I heard from Jonathan is how COVID marked the before and after when it comes to FICOMPAS and when it comes to financial instruments. And Slovakia is a case in point on successfully repurposing financial instruments like the COVID-19 guarantee instrument. So could you talk to us a little bit how all that happened? What were perhaps the most critical operational hurdles that you face when this repurposing processes, and which lessons did you learn from that?
Quite a few. Thank you very much for this question. And we repurposed financial instruments in several ways, maybe because we didn't know we can't. We brought, probably as the very first ones, financial instruments to transport infrastructure together with the EIB just after Slovak Investment Holding was established in 2014, so we more or less twins with FI Compass. And COVID was a really hard time and absolutely outside of our daily bread and butter. The Latin proverb says that audentes fortuna juvat, that the fortune favors the brave. We in Slovakia translate it slightly differently, that fortune favors the prepared. And this is probably the biggest lesson learned, that we all do our daily work and we all do things as we used to for years and years, etc., etc. But somewhere in the heads, we have to be prepared that the world is really changing, is changing very rapidly, and it's good to be prepared if some unexpected situation occurs. And then we have to be quick. We have to take, I would say, calculated risks. And as you said, we had to adhere during COVID times to the KISS principle, keep it simple and stupid. Don't think about perfect instrument which would solve all little problems connected to COVID. Just concentrate on the biggest problem and try to do something quickly. And that's what we actually did. There was the first confirmed COVID patient in Slovakia on the 8th of March 2020. And we had the first COVID guarantee in place in April. So it took us about a month to discuss with banks. Of course, we didn't discuss with all the banks, and this is another lesson learned. Discuss with your partners, build relationship with your partners, whether it's financial intermediaries, whether it's the ministries and managing authorities. Just persuade them that you're ready to do things, and persuade them to rely on you that you will do it in a professional way. This is what we learned from this experience. We didn't have much money available at that time. We only had 38 million available for support of small and medium-sized enterprises. And we needed to solve basically two things. We needed to persuade banks to keep on lending to companies, because at some stage all lending froze because nobody knew what was going to happen to companies. And it seemed that there will be thousands of bankruptcies. And we wanted the companies to keep people employed, start working from home, do some sort of measures so that the people can continue working and keep them on the payroll, because we didn't, as a state, we couldn't afford, again, hundreds of thousands or even maybe millions unemployed. So these were the two main things. And the way how we decided to solve it was to provide guarantees to banks, common guarantees, which we all do basically every day, and combine it with interest rate subsidy for those companies who would keep their people employed. First, it was 100%, then it was 90%. And I would say that the first month or two persuaded both the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Finance. So gradually the amount came up from 38 million to 630 million of European fund resources. And on top of that, the Ministry of Finance provided us with 360 million of state financial reserves. And we were allowed to use this for the program, which then probably was definitely the biggest program ever in Slovak history, because with that money we supported, only from European funds, we supported more than 10,000 companies. And if I speak also about state financial assets, it was 14,500 loans to something more than 13,000 companies. And the total volume of loans was 1.7 billion euro. And I must say that, surprisingly enough, these loans are being very well repaid. There's very low rate of any problems, troubles. Of course there are, but I wouldn't assign that to COVID, maybe to economic development later. So the main thing is, be prepared. If anything happens, don't try to make a perfect instrument, rather start quickly, and over the time it will somehow evolve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Be prepared and start quickly. Amazing. So from Slovakia, now we move to Bulgaria with Martina. So SAS Credit is the second largest microfinance institution in Bulgaria. You're focusing especially with social enterprises, starting entrepreneurs, with a focus on vulnerable groups. And these target groups are perhaps not the easiest when it comes to generating and increasing market interest in financial instruments the past 10 years. So I'm curious to hear from you, what were the challenges of generating such a market interest, and which kind of strategies, which kind of tips that you used to and can share with the audience that helped you overcome it?
Thank you very much. So I'm the voice of the small numbers. You know, after all these billions, I could show how we could create impact through a couple of millions and real impact, which I think it's a nice example. So we started to implement financial instrument, the so-called risk-sharing microfinance facility in 2018. And this instrument was managed by the Fund of Funds in Bulgaria and under operational program Human Resource Development, co-financed by ESF+. So we started, and I think that it was really success, because for the 5-year implementing period, we actually reached almost 400 starting entrepreneurs. 30% of them are from vulnerable groups. In our case, these are entrepreneurs who are with disabilities, unemployed over 6 months, youth, etc. And we also reached almost 30 social enterprise, which was absolutely unbelievable for social enterprise to get a loan. And thanks to this instrument, we created almost 800 official jobs. This is only the official with label contracts, and it's a huge success. Of course, many challenges. I remember very well the first year of implementation. It was educational year, because in the first week when we launched the instrument, we received like hundreds of applications from entrepreneurs, and I was really happy and said, wow, what an entrepreneurial ecosystem in this country. And at the end, everybody was absolutely disappointed that these are not free money. And they were like, we need to repay this, but the EU is guaranteeing this, but the government is guaranteeing, so I could not repay. No, you need to repay. So this is the idea of financial instruments. So this is the first year. And after that, we were like 4 years of building ecosystem, partnership network, because we are dealing with many vulnerable groups, and for each vulnerable group, you need to have the specific partner. For example, for refugees, you need Caritas. For Roma, you need the Trust for Social Achievement, and so on and so on. And this was really hard work, but it really was needed. And the third thing was that we needed to amend all our risk management policies in order to be sure that we are reaching the most vulnerable groups. These are people without credit history, without business plan, without company also, and without collateral. So for financial institution to assess these entrepreneurs was really hard, but I think we did a great job. And actually, this financial instrument created so many opportunities for unbankable people, because in our case, 95% of the clients are unbankable. They don't have any other chance to start. And how I created this narrative about why we need to develop this in Bulgaria, why everybody needs to support us, I was just telling stories about clients. And one of the stories I could share was last year, the Showcase Award we won. So it's like a small bakery in a distant village created by a young person who came and said, I will bring people back to this city and will reopen the bakery, and I will create employment. I will produce natural bread, healthy. And he succeeded, actually, and he employed 15 people. This year, you could see another client story of ours in the video of Fund of Funds. So it's about a social enterprise that is employing young people with mental disabilities. They are producing vegetables, and it's a pure business model. And for me, the success of financial instrument is that social enterprises who are used to grants are saying the money in the right moment is more important than having free money.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Martina. And it's interesting because now we are moving from financial instruments supporting social enterprises and entrepreneurs focusing in vulnerable groups to venture capital, because I would like to welcome our next speaker, Irene, because you're representing Investitionsbank Berlin. Sorry for my pronunciation, but it's a promotional bank of the federal state of Berlin, which is a city known for, you know, being the EU's venture capital hub, and it has successfully developed and deployed 4 generations of ERDF financial instruments that support innovation. Could you talk to us through about that? So how can you explain, or like what was the EBB's success in developing the venture capital startup ecosystem in Berlin? What can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and thank you for inviting us. When Diana just told us about the obstacles in the beginning, I can still remember that, yeah, we had the same. Because I'm here right now representing IBB. I'm the Dino within this round, because we started to implement financial instruments 2 decades ago. So, the financial instruments helped us a lot. What did we do? We started in 2004, 2005 with an equity fund. And since then, Berlin has experienced remarkable growth as a vibrant and rapidly expanding innovation, startup and venture capital hub in Europe. And IBB Venture played a very important role in this. And by the first financial instrument with the equity fund, we were able to produce and build up a network with private venture capital, with business angels, with universities, and with founders, amazing founders with innovative ideas. And that was the beginning to build up the ecosystem in Berlin. And what does these founders need? Money, of course, to develop their innovative ideas and their products. Then network and support to bring them to the market, and they want to grow. Founders and early stage innovative companies rely on external financing. After setting up the financial instrument, the equity fund, we had a tool to connect them with our network and to support them. And very often, the IBB is the first mover with venture capital. And by our commitment, other investors, private venture capitalists, and business angels are attracted. And then, with each follow-up investment round, additional co-investors grow significantly. So in the last 20 years, we supported more than 300 companies, and our venture capital fund has invested over these decades more than 300 million euro. And by this, we had a total amount of investments of 2 billion euro. So this is a leverage from 1 to 6, and we are quite proud. And we had at least 50 exits in the last 10 years. So I think ERDF and financial instruments played a very big role to build up this ecosystem. And this is why our long-term approach is so important. Our venture capital fund span multiple programming periods, allowing to recycle capital, using reflows from previous generations. Now we are in the 4th generation. And by using these reflows, we are able to invest in follow-up rounds and in on investments on later stage. So, and we are continuously innovating. So that means what we are doing right now, and we've been talking about that in Berlin 2 months ago, that we try to diversify the startup ecosystem in Berlin. What we want to do is to build up a new pre-seed fund. This is, when you look into our website, it's called Be Sharp. And by that, we want to try to discover new startups and in a very early phase. That means, for instance, in the field of AI or deep tech. And this we want to do with another system. That means we want to attract very young founders coming from the university and trying to build up in a very early phase their startup. So this is, we want to do that with 10 million euro. And then, well, we are going on right now. This is to build up a new ecosystem. We call it Unite. And by this, we want to bring together science, talents, network, innovative ideas, and universities more than we do right now. So by the help of EIDF, Berlin has been able to become a vibrant and expanding startup and venture capital fund hub. So we still go on doing that, and we're working hard on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rene. Thanks a lot. So we have just heard from different perspectives, experiences in different member states, different ecosystems, different instruments, different final recipients. So that's been really interesting to see how different the picture looks across Europe. So now we have just a bit more than 15 minutes left. So I would like to already open the floor in case we have any questions from the audience. I must admit that the lighting is a bit dark here, so you can raise your hand. I hope I'm able to see you. Otherwise, just wave at me just like that. But do I have any questions already? Either I don't see anyone or there's no one really speaking. Wanting to take the floor? All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about that. Then I would like to, because first I would like to turn back to Jonathan and to Frank. I would like to ask you what is perhaps the thing that you are most proud in your work with financial instruments? Is there like maybe any particular story that you would briefly like to share with us? Jonathan?
I'd like to sort of reiterate Deanna's story. I think it's an absolutely terrific one. That it's a lot of the time we are discussing programs with managing authorities. There is an enormous amount of conservatism and fear associated with financial instruments. Conservatism, I understand. Fear, I don't. And that's something that FI Compass exists to dispel. But I mean, the courage that Deanna and her colleagues showed to come into the EU and then change the mindset from a grant mindset pre-accession to a financial instrument implementation, successful implementation, and then there are still conservative people around. I'm not going to mention the A word yet, but Deanna did. Who are very good at telling you A, what you can't do, and B, what you've got wrong. And I was really impressed by the sort of the way that Deanna has overcome that. And I remember several of the emails about not reinvesting and so on. And to be clear, Deanna, there is no stupid question. In the world of financial instruments, there are no stupid questions. Whatever the expression on our faces may show, there are no stupid questions. And if you don't ask them, yes, the only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. So, for me, that's one. Another one would be. We visited Lithuania and saw some energy efficiency projects in multi-apartment buildings. We met the residents. We met people whose lives had been changed, whose lives had got a lot warmer, and who were spending a lot less on energy costs. And it's when you get to the final recipients that you see the real stories, the real impact that our financial instruments can have.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And Frank? What would you like to share? What was your proudest moment?
Yeah, that's difficult to pin it on one. I think there's been so many things that have developed, as I was saying before, over the last 10 years. I mean, maybe one to pick out is a little bit building on what Jonathan was saying, which is this evolution from grants to financial instruments, and this place in the middle that we found, which is the combination of grants and financial instruments. And I think this was something that we had picked up already, in the early days of the Jessica initiative as something that was probably going to be needed in order to really bridge that gap, but also to recognize that the types of projects and companies that we were supporting with financial instruments, we were trying to address a market failure, and the market failure was because it could not be supported purely with commercial financial instruments alone, and often you needed grant. And this started in the world of energy efficiency improvements, but it's really, we see it across the board. And so I would say one of the best achievements, again, a collective effort, was getting this stuff into the regulation for the current MFF around the combination of grants and financial instruments in a single operation. And I think this has been picked up by many of the national promotional institutions and others that are implementing this. For me, this was a big moment, and I think it opened up a lot of doors into many different sectors that financial instruments are now being used today.
Thank you very much for sharing, Frank. Now, I see already that I have a question over here. Yeah, okay, we have 2 questions here. Microphone is coming to you. Yeah. Brilliant, thank you so much. If you could briefly introduce yourself and a brief question, please.
Yeah, my name is Melvin Koenigs from the Netherlands, and I have a question for the Bulgarian representative, Ms. Grigorova. I have to read out loud your name. But you were talking about social impact, and it was very interesting, and you're using European money basically to have a fund and support social enterprises. Of course, this also will lead to a cost saving for local authorities, that they do not have to pay money to the unemployed people anymore. So is this instrument already now growing, that it was sort of lightened up by European money, but now will also maybe use local money for cost savings in the future to put into the instrument? Is that discussion going on in Bulgaria?
Absolutely. I could see that thanks to, I must say, our work on the ground, the managing authority and all the involved parties already see the great beneficial part of such instrument to save costs, of course. And this year we did impact analysis, but we didn't get so deep. But we measured how we are changing the lives of these people, how we are creating employment, etc. But I think that what you say, that at the end, how much the state is saving in investing in companies like us, this is the thing that we need to focus on. Yeah.
Thank you. We had another question over here. Anyone else in that side of the room? Trying to check. All right. Otherwise, just over here. Raise your hand so that a colleague can see you. Great.
Hello. I am Čestmír Hrdinka from the Czech Republic, from the State Investment Promotional Fund. And we've heard many great accomplishments in the last 10 years. We've seen really impressive figures. My question would be maybe to Jonathan and Frank. How do you see the development of the financial instrument in the next programming period starting 2028? What's your view on it? How much more will we see?
Ooh.
I don't have enough time. Okay. The next programming period, I think that the whole of the union is going to have to accept that the MFF is a little bit more money to do an awful lot more, and therefore we're going to have to invest European money in the national and regional partnership plans far more intelligently, far more efficiently, and far more effectively. And for me, the answer to that, I mean, okay, I've been doing this job for 7 years now, so it would be, the answer is financial instruments. And I think that we will see a big increase in the use of financial instruments, because because basically there won't be enough money to do everything if you just use it as grants. So to get the reflows, but above all to get the leverage of private sector investment into projects, because the European budget and the national budgets can't solve the problems we have in the union on their own. We need to leverage in other expenditure. So I think that there will be a greater use of financial instruments. We have simplified the regulatory framework considerably. We've taken away lots of things that we didn't think were necessary. For example, and in order to try to match Peter's achievement of setting up an instrument in 1 month, we've taken out the obligation to carry out an ex-ante assessment, which we got a lot of feedback from managing authorities and national promotional banks that was actually adding a year sometimes to the development of a financial instrument. You have to do your due diligence somehow, but there's no formal requirement to do an ex-ante assessment. Now, simplified regulations, fewer regulations, will mean more need for advice. And that's where I pass over to Frank.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jonathan. And Frank, what would you like to add?
Yeah, just briefly, because I mean, this will be a topic for tomorrow for sure. There's quite a few sessions on this. Yeah, more advice. In a way, yeah, obviously more advice is going to be needed if more people are going to be doing financial instruments, and we see waves of people working in managing authorities, the natural turnover of people that come and go. You were mentioning, Diana, that we need to send your colleagues on trainings to bring them up to speed. But yeah, I think, as Jonathan said, it's the political message is out there probably stronger than it ever has been, in my opinion, in terms of we need to do more with less, and that means financial instruments. We see now lots of experience on which we can build on and copy and replicate, rather than trying to always think about doing things from scratch, from new. We would push for anything that's obviously going to simplify the process, that will make it quicker to implement, that we can get better combinations of funds between, let's say, the shared management funds and the central mandates and central funds. So all of these things, I think, the prediction would be, I would imagine, that at least double the volume of financial instruments in the next period. I mean, to answer your question, where would we see ourselves in 10 years' time? I think that would be a realistic expectation, I would say. Perhaps more can be achieved, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Frank. Now, do I have any more questions from the floor? No one else? All right. I have another one here towards the front of the room. Microphone is coming. And if anyone else has a question, please wave at me. I'm going to be looking around. Yes? Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, this is Juraj from Slovakia. I have a brief question to anyone. You recap the last 10 years. What would be your wish for the next 10 years? You can just, any wish, it doesn't have to be reality, just what you think for the next decade.
Juraj, you stole my question. But it's the perfect one to wrap up the panel. So definitely, maybe we could start this time around from Irene, like all the way back to Jonathan, maybe. Yeah, what is your wish for the next 10 years for FECOMPAS?
Well, going on and being strong, and because in the beginning, when we started with the financial instruments, exactly 20 years ago, it was the same obstacle. Berlin was poor and sexy, and financial instrument was the only help area of money to support small and medium-sized enterprises, and we did it with venture capital. So I think going on, and I hope that the cohesion policy will support us in any way.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Irene. Martina?
Yeah, we need to be brave and to be innovative and to continue work very, very hard because I think that through financial instruments we could really create great impact. And about FECOMPAS, I must say that they are really important players in building the ecosystem, because in our case They are providing technical assistance. We have one very nice program that is managed by EIB Advisory, SIFTA, that is building the capacity of the institutions, that is making peer-to-peer visits, and it's really helping gain strength to do the hard job that we are doing. And events like this, it's amazing. This is something that we need. And last time in Madrid, I brought our managing authority, and he said, I want more instruments. So it's important, and gaining visibility and strengthening the sector is done through such programs and through such initiatives. Yeah.
Thank you, Martina. Peter?
Well, in 10 years, I'd like to sit here with similar audience and listen to Frank and Jonathan telling us statistics, how much financial instruments evolved, and that they are now majority over grants. And that's something I would really like to see in my life.
And maybe we'll get to the 2 million website visits. Yeah, Diana.
Likewise, in order to achieve this, we should attract, like what Frank was describing, not FI practitioners. We should attract decision makers and change their mindsets and higher political levels, and also to include more people, other ministries. We need more trainings. And as Jonathan said, with COVID, it's very difficult to travel. So our bosses are not allowing us to travel so much. Yeah, but you can solve everything online. But we all know that networking happens in these lunches and drinks and not online. So yeah, we will heavily depend on the FI campus as well, but it should offer more and more training for non-FI practitioners, so we can involve more other people and make them enthusiastic about financial instruments as we are.
Super. Good suggestion. Now, Frank?
So in the next 10 years, I'd like to be a little bit less physically changed than I have been in the last 10 years, so that I can indeed sit here with you, Peter, and others. I'm not sure that will happen, but let's see. 2035 is a good day to aim for. No, I guess we've said it all. I mean, we want to see absolutely. I think we will have to see more. Much more financial instrument use. I actually think we're at a point where there's no way around it anymore. If you look at what's happening in the world today, it's pretty scary stuff. And I think Europe has to come out of its shell and start taking more risk and doing more innovative things. And financial instruments has to be a part of that. So yeah, I think in 10 years' time we'll see. The statistics have at least doubled, as I said, if not more, and we'll be celebrating new achievements and new instruments and new ideas.
Excellent, thank you. And Jonathan?
At FI Campus in 2035, I want to see 4 times as many people sitting out there.
Ambitious. All right, so in the next 10 years, we want more, right? We want more people, we want more financial instruments, more diverse target audience, the non-FI practitioners, more website visits as well. Amazing. And hopefully that the food and wine stays as good. Excellent. So I think this is the perfect way to wrap up this first discussion, in which we've been taking a look back and looked at the big picture of what the past 10 years for FI Campus have meant. So can I first ask for a big round of applause for our panelists, please? Welcome to this next session, the second part of this first day at FI Campus 2025. Can I have everyone's attention, please? Thanks. We have a very packed agenda for the rest of the day, so I just want to make sure that we don't miss any of it. So I hope you all got to enjoy the coffee break. You got to enjoy some great conversations, the building the networks, as we said before, some nice pastries. You got to stretch your legs. You got to listen to this jingle that keeps playing here in the room, a very catchy one. And let's get ready for the next one of our sessions, the title of which is Financial Instrument Pioneers, Achievements and Impacts from the Frontline. And for this session, I'm happy to be handing over to the moderator who will be taking over for this discussion. So let's all welcome with a big round of applause a familiar face from the FI Compass community, the Deputy Head for Advisory Financial Institutions Division at the European Investment Bank, Bruno Robino. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. It was not true that they were able to see everybody. I just see anybody. But anyway, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session on financial instruments pioneers. Financial instruments is about jargon, and I heard a new expression during lunchtime and in the break, and it sounds like financial instruments a dinosaur, and I hope it was not referred to me. So let's move on. So it was mentioned that FICampus is about the celebration of the 10th anniversary of the operation on FICompass, and what about to take a moment and to celebrate this anniversary and see what happened at the beginning, what happened 10 years ago. And to do so, we have carefully selected a number of financial instruments practitioners who spoke either at the first FICompass event or thereafter in the workshops of 10 years ago. So I'm very happy to call on stage Inga Beiluniene, Head of International Relations at ILTE in Lithuania, Kirill Velichkov, Director of European Project and Financial Instruments of UBB in Bulgaria, Nicolas Buissel, Deputy Director at La Région Occitanie in France, and Paolo Zaggia, Head of International Relations and Communication at Finlombarda in Italy. And last but not least, Emily Smith, Head of Climate and Urban Finance Advisory Unit at European Investment Bank. So, again, don't call anybody dinosaur actually. Each of you was somehow either involved or responsible in some financial instruments that was featured in one of our earliest events or case studies. And today the idea is to understand what happened, what was next, and how the financial instruments evolved. So I'll start with you, Inga. The entrepreneurship, the promotional fund was presented at the first FICampus. We're talking about 10 years, more than 10 years ago. And this was a 14.5 million euro ESF financial instruments for entrepreneurs. So how this business has grown over time, and also leading to the creation, among others, of ILTE. So over to you. Few minutes.
Okay. I'll try to be as brief as possible. So yes, actually it was the financial instrument which was presented at first FICampus, as far as I remember. Actually, I spoke for the first time about this instrument 8 years ago in one of the first thematic workshops in Vienna. It was 8 years ago. But the instrument, the beginning of the instrument actually, it started 17 years ago. So I feel a bit of a dinosaur, actually. And 17 years ago, we were brave. We didn't know anything, or almost anything, and we had only few provisions in the regulation, and so-called Kokov notes explaining the provisions of the regulations. And at that moment, not knowing almost anything about how this is going to be implemented, we decided to try. And we used European Social Fund for microcredits. Actually, Entrepreneurship Promotion Fund is a microcrediting fund. And I still remember our first try to combine grants and financial instruments in one under single financial instrument operation We didn't have any provision in the regulation about that, and in this fund we had a combination of grant and financial instrument. And the grant was specifically dedicated for trainings. So actually the fund manager, who was the consortium of credit unions, they had to not only provide microcredits to those who are starting business or who are operating for less than 1 year, but also to provide or to organize trainings for them, just for them to understand whether they are capable to do business or to start business and to do it. And the main thing was that actually only, if I remember correctly, only 11% of those who attended trainings, they received loans from this financial instrument. And when the auditors, sorry to say that, started to audit this instrument, we fell into trouble. And the auditors told, look, the combination of the grant and the financial instrument and the single, it wasn't called single financial instrument operation at the time, but it wasn't allowed to combine financial instruments with the grants. And we almost faced a correction, and actually the auditors were very much insisting on the correction, but somehow we managed to really persuade. And the main thing was that there were no provisions in the regulation at that time, so we were just a kind of telling, look, why are you saying this? There are no provisions, we can do whatever we want. And in the next programming period, actually, we were even joking that in EGSIF guidance, if I remember correctly the title of the guidance, it was EGSIF guidance, there was a specific paragraph telling that you cannot combine trainings with the financial instrument and a single financial instrument operation. And we were joking that this was written for us, specifically for us. So you can understand that actually this instrument was launched in 2007-2013. We had a second generation of this instrument in 2014-2020. And in that instrument, we didn't combine grant with a financial instrument and the single financial instrument operation. We just launched a financial instrument, and we asked the fund manager to provide, instead of trainings, to provide counseling, which they are doing in any case. And now we are talking already, and we are already having the third generation of this instrument, which is very popular in Lithuania, which was very much awaited by the entrepreneurs and by the financial market. But with the third generation, we are not using structural funds anymore. Why? Because we have plenty of reflows from the two previous programming periods. And the main thing is that Bruno mentioned that we started with 14.5 million euros with the first generation of this instrument, and now we launched the instrument with 29 million euros. So you can imagine it's popular, and as I mentioned, it was awaited in the market, and we are happy about this instrument very much. In terms of numbers, so at the moment we have 3,000 entrepreneurs those received loans from this instrument. So it's quite a sizable number in Lithuania, and actually I am really happy about this instrument.
Thank you, Inge. That is very inspiring. I love the reflows that the instrument has created. Thank you for that. Kirill, so welcome back. You featured in the inaugural event Bulgaria Jeremy Fund, including the first loss portfolio guarantee. So we're interested as a private sector operator, as a private sector bank, what was the impact of this fund in Bulgarian SMEs ecosystem? So what happened?
Thank you, Bruno. While I was listening for your stories for dinosaurs, me as representative of commercial bank, in fact I work for the Belgium KVC group, I realized that for me it's a bit different story. It was from Don Quixote to a rock star. So how...
but I have nothing against the dinosaurs. Don't take it personally. So for me, it started 15 years ago, something like this. I remember a meeting in Luxembourg at EIB head office. We were just signing a new contract for 20, 30 million euro funding facility, and it was very useful at this time. And it was late, I should go to the airport, and I just saw a strange, ugly building next to the fancy EIB building, and I asked, what is this black box there? Oh, but it's EAF. It is what? It's EAF. Would you like to see it? But, okay, it's raining, what shall I do till the plane? So I went there, and an even more strange guy told me, have you heard about Jeremy? About what? So that's how it was late 2010, and probably after 6 months, I went back home, told to the management, blah, 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 and we signed the first Jeremy. I thought, oh, it will be a great success now. It offers such preferential conditions. But frankly speaking, the management was happy, but the customers and the sales colleagues were looking on me as a bit crazy guy and were telling me, but Kirill, the future is in the grants. Why are you losing our time? So I realized that I'm the Don Quixote there. And it took more than a year communicating, doing seminars, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly the customers started entering the bank and they were asking for a Jeremy loan, not for a loan. So it became a brand name for a great success. And after this, we realized that this is going to be repeated. Bulgaria was among the pilot animals in EU. So we informed the group management of KBC. We established a KBC Group Competence Center. So all our entities in Bulgaria, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Belgium are leaders in using these instruments there. And now in Bulgaria, if we go back, our bank, it was number 12 15 years ago. Now it's the largest financial group on the market. And we run more than 50 different financial instruments with a portfolio for more than 2 billion euro actively using. And we also implement financial instruments in combination with grant. We run very successful Sustainable Cities Fund. It's Urban Development Fund. And by the way, in the showcases, you can see some of our applications, but yeah, I was asked to do this, so please vote for us. But all of the applications are good colleagues. It's not about us. But why I felt as a rock star? Because walking in the corridor of the bank, it's quite strange. When I see the head of corporate directorate, it's a nice lady, and Kirill, I want to meet you. Okay, I want to meet you as well. And then she's asking, but when the next financial instrument will come? So these are the questions I'm asking for all the people in the business, because, and it's obviously not because of me, but because these financial instruments add enormous value to the bank, but even more to our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirill. So notice taken that you use this stage to do a little pitch on your instrument. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Nicolas, I'm pleased to welcome you in, I would say, in the big family. You're representing the Région Occitanie, which is the merge of two regions. It's already happened many years ago, and actually one of the two is Languedoc-Roussillon, which is close to my heart because I spend a lot of time in that region. At the first event, it was featured the SAS Jeremy Fund, which was a venture capital fund implemented with the European Investment Fund. And that was presented at the first event. So can you share with us what happened next? How does it work? And now what is the situation in Occitanie?
Good afternoon and thank you. Yeah, just a reminder, effectively, SAS Jeremy LR that was presented was a co-investment tools that was inside a bigger system, Jeremy LR for Languedoc-Roussillon, of course. And it was still a small pilot with only 30 million engaged. And the idea started in 2010 with a simple idea. Public money should attract private financing for SMEs. At the beginning, we worked with only few partners, and we were learning on how to use European financial instruments at a local level. It was our big concerns. And Jeremy was a success, with more than 1,300 SMEs supported in a few years. It was a huge success. So of course, we decided to scale up. And with the merge between the two regions, Languedoc-Roussillon and Midi-Pyrénées in the new Occitanie, we need to build a bigger systems. So we create a Foster Occitanie, a larger fund with more partners, and we even opened the mechanism to agricultural sector, thanks to EAFRD, which completed ERDF and strong regional finance that always be mobilized during Jeremy. I insist the key evolution is that thanks to Jeremy and thanks to the partnership with EIF, we succeed to increase the number of banks. 12 banks were involved in the Foster Occitanie. And it's really, really important for us that, because that allows us to reach all parts of our new large region. Rural area, mountains area, all small towns where often SMEs struggle to find finance. And that's really a key point for us. And after that, COVID-19 arrived as a real stress test because all SMEs were in difficulty. And thanks to our strong partnership with the EIF, we are able to adapt and to react fast. And we enlarge our tools, thanks to React-EU, I have to say, to support cash flow. And we kept credit moving. And at this crucial moment, we proved that Europe, region, and EIF are able to implement finance instruments not only in good times, but also in crisis. Since 2010, more than 9,800 SMEs and farmers have been financed, supporting more than 59,000 employment. Public resources have generated over 2.1 billion euros in total investment, thanks to a large leverage effect. And perhaps more important, Jeremy and Foster even changed our mind in a region. In 2015, we had a ratio between the number of financial instruments and direct grants about 1-to-1. And today, the ratio is between 2 and 3 in favor of finance instruments. Now we are in the third generation of Foster Occitanie, 24-29, and we keep improving the model. Of course, we adapt and targeting social transition, green transition, digitalization, resilience, sovereignty, and today we even discuss on security and defense company. This is definitely because we believe that there are these new challenges that count for companies from the region and for Europe. So if I have to say what happened next, I would say we start from a small pilot and we built one of the strongest regional financing ecosystems with wide bank network. We built a long-term partnership with EIF based on trust and efficiency. And moreover, we prove that finance instruments are able to adapt quickly and deliver a real impact everywhere in Occitanie. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Nicolas. Thanks for this impressive figure. You mentioned that you have 12 banks by now involved in the financial instruments. Probably the starting point was only one when you started, so it's a huge incremental increase. Very good. Thank you, Nicola. And let's move to Paolo. Paolo, you were involved somehow in the beginning of Jeremy ESF. It was a microfinance instrument that was implemented in Lombardy, and it was featured in many of our events. It's one of the first instruments that used ESF resources to support cooperatives, and you had a fairly innovative structure for that time. Perhaps you can explain and tell us what happened next. And I understand that you have some slides. Over to you.
Thank you, Bruno. Hello to everybody. I'm very glad to be here because I have the possibility to tell better the meaning of this financial instrument that for us was the particular innovative financial instrument used defined keeping in mind a subsidiary approach. Now I can tell this in better way. So the first slide represents the flow of the financial instrument, starting from Jeremy ESF, the fund, and passing from financial intermediary to arrive to the member of cooperative that give the money to the cooperative. What does it mean? It means that we use a lot of actors. We have managing authority, we have financial intermediary, but as a Filombarda, we are a promotional regional bank, then commercial intermediary, financial intermediary, then the member of cooperative, the lower or the lower level, that they decided to keep this microcredit in the capital of cooperative. In the next slide, I don't know how, maybe there. Okay, I have no panic. I have just two slides. The first for the structure, and the second is just to show our results. It is we have 3 components. We have a guarantee component, maximum of 10% of the total. Then for engage the financial intermediary, commercial financial intermediary. Then we have a amortizing component with a private resource. So in this case, we have a leverage in ESF, so it's a very particular effect. And then we have a loan at 0 interest rate, repayable in a unique financial solution, bullet, call it the bullet, but not repayable under certain condition. If the beneficiary, if the cooperative member remain in the cooperative for almost 5 years. When they receive the money, they subscribe to share capital of a social cooperative. So it has been a great successful because we operate in a particular field, in a social field, with disadvantaged persons that are not used to go to bank, just to understand what I saying. Next one for us has been a win-win approach. I think that with this financial instrument, we operate also at the level of policy, our regional policy. Why? We reach a lot of recipients, cooperative member, 8,000 recipients, disadvantaged peoples, member of cooperative, at the same time the social cooperative. So we create more inclusion, creation of new job, of course capitalization of the cooperative, but at the same time we put a new culture of social capital. For public authority, we think that we show for the first time in this particular field efficiency in the use of public resource. We obtain also the attention of a commercial bank in leverage of public resource. For a financial intermediary, new target customers, cooperative system more available for banks, and more interest in public policy of commercial financial intermediary. So for this, I think that it has been a very good, experiences in Lombardy region. What can I say more? I don't know if we have another round, but if you
we're
want.
Until 11 this evening, so you can go ahead.
Okay. So two things. One, I think that when we sought this financial instrument, the European normative is not very. I have to find words without offending nobody. So
be careful.
So we have no normative for a European Social Fund. For this, at the time, we have a lot of interpretation. And this interpretation we'll find in the audit phase some problems. For this reason, the region decided not to proceed. Also, despite if we had obtained a good impact. But anyway, it's very interesting to understand that now, in a 2021-2027 programming period, we discovered the same modality in capital rebate. So we think that in the next time we can propose again, just not in this field in social cooperative, but also in agriculture sector and in other sector, this modality that can show and demonstrate the add value of subsidy approach. And if I can explain my experience in financial instrument, I begin thinking that financial instrument it was just for something for the bank, for the commercial, but I understand in this financial instrument really a subsidiary approach. So we can help who want growth without we can help who can growth without with this discrete way. And I think that this is our duty, just not to do what they can do alone, but just help with discretion.
Thank you, Paolo. So what I retain is, I would say, multi-objective financial instruments through a microfinance instrument focusing on socially excluded individuals. Then you also were able to capitalize on cooperatives, giving also the possibility to these socially excluded to work in the cooperatives and repay a portion of the loan. And also congratulations on your diplomatic skills. You didn't offend anybody, so congratulations. Congratulations on that. Very good. Let's move to, last but not least, to Emily. Emily, you have been with FICOMPAS throughout the last 10 years. And this slide shows the original content of the FICOMPAS platform, which was presented actually at the first event. So, how did FICOMPAS perform, and what do you think have been the major changes over the last 10 years? Over to you, Emily.
Wow, what a question. Hi from me, everybody. I won't go through the slide in detail because well, hopefully you would all agree that FICOMPAS has delivered on all of those tasks: methodological advice, the knowledge management, the networking, the capacity building. But I think what we're particularly proud about is the way in which FICOMPAS has been able to accompany you all on the journeys that you have taken in developing your financial instruments and increasing the amount of resources which are allocated to those instruments and increasing the number of sectors which are now being supported by financial instruments, in working together to develop new innovations like the combination in a single operation that we have in this period, in working together on things like the model financial instruments and the knowledge hubs. I think it's very much about how we've also gone about that. So I think we've collectively given each other the confidence to take first steps sometimes, to take bigger steps or new steps in new areas. And we've really grown the community together. So I would say FICOMPAS has done very well. It obviously needs to continue to respond, to be dynamic, to be agile to the fact that the knowledge base amongst the community has also massively changed and increased as well over the 10 years. So we began very much, I think Frank and Jonathan mentioned it earlier, where much of the events were commission and EIB presentations trying to increase and encourage your knowledge. But now it's very much about you also sharing your knowledge with us, and often we actually learn an awful lot more from you guys these days, which is great. So I think moving forwards, the platform needs to do more of that in terms of being able to put together the less experienced practitioners with the more experienced practitioners, to continue to push for new innovations in the way in which we use financial instruments to bring forward new financial products and new solutions to the challenges that we all face. So yeah, I think continue. It has evolved. It has been fairly dynamic, but it will need to continue on that journey if it's to continue to add the value that it has done. Thanks, Bruno.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you very much. So good inspiration and I would say goodwill to continue and to do more in favor of financial instruments. Thank you. So let's move. So I'm gonna open the floor for some question through the audience in a moment. Either you raise your hand and you will be given the opportunity to to speak in the microphone and ask your question, or I guess you can use Slido. I'm looking at the technology if they can show the QR code, which we have. Fantastic. Wow. But before going into that, I would like to ask, and this is a unique chance to tell some of the key factors in your region, in your financial instruments, but also an opportunity to say, let's go back 10 years, what would you have done something differently in order to achieve same level of success or more success? So Inga, let me start with you.
I am a big fan of combination of financial instruments with the grants, and you heard why. because we really tried many years ago. We had to give up for some time. We found other ways how to combine grants with the financial instruments when it was not possible or was very limited. So actually, and just to come back to the Entrepreneurship Promotion Fund, the trainings and the combination of trainings and and loans was not the only one combination. Actually, we understood that the instrument needs another addition, if I can call it in such a way. So we suggested to the Ministry of Social Affairs and Labor to introduce so-called grants for compensation of salaries of those who, of the employees of those who received microcredits to survive during the next 2 years. Because the main costs of the companies are actually salaries. So, and this was very helpful, and we repeated this for the second generation of this instrument, and trying to repeat this for the third generation of this instrument. However, due to the reason that but actually we are using reflows for the financial instrument and structural funds for the grant part, we cannot combine it into under one financial instrument and a single financial instrument operation. That was the answer. I'm looking at Jonathan, but that was the answer of the Commission. It's not possible. So my main, takeaway is that the combination of financial instruments and the grants and a single financial instrument operation is a necessity, especially in the when you are financing those who are very risky projects, or those who are, in any case, you cannot implement the project without the grant component, for example, in R&D projects, etc. What would I do in a different way? I would be braver, I think, with a second generation, and would try to combine grants with the financial instruments, even they were not possible at that moment, or were very limited. And now with the third generation, we are facing another situation, another problem, because, as I mentioned, that we cannot combine under single financial instrument operation different types of funding. I would perhaps look for another type of funding just to be able to combine it under one instrument, because to have two streams of or two separate instruments with different provisions or different implementation options, it's a nightmare, trust me. So I would really like to combine it in one instrument.
Thank you. So message taken, multiple combination, similar or same provision. This is what could simplify your third generation of financial instruments. Thank you. Thank you for that. Kirill, over to you. So what you would have done better if you had a magic wand and you will be back 10 years ago and setting another course of action for your financial instruments, which were super successful, by the way.
Thank you. I will be honest with you, Bruno. You know that I feel as a rock star, and I think in a more simple way. So I will say 3 things that I think I would do again, and I have a wish list. So the first thing that I would do again, and I believe it's crucial it is crucial for the success of financial instruments in our group, but I believe not only, is the strategic fit of the financial instruments with the strategy of the organization. Because the financial instruments for KBC Group are not an objective, but they are a tool to achieve our objectives, to do more ESG, more innovation, more SME lending. The second thing I would ask again, and I would insist on, is to have a full top management support of financial instruments initiatives, simply because they are linked to organizational change. And you need the support from all the levels, the board on the group level, and so on. And the third thing I would ask to be repeated again is a simple word, and it's called the partnership. The partnership within my organization, but then the partnership with the association of the banks, the partnership with large initiatives such as the Vienna initiatives, or the partnership with EIB, EAF, FI Campus, fund of funds in all the countries, members of ICM. And all this, I want to finish with the wish list. By the way, it was funny, I had a meeting with my boss and he was telling me, Christmas, Kirill, the Christmas is coming. And I was saying, oh, Frank, this is great, bonuses. No, it's time to achieve your annual targets. So it's a question of perception, but my wish list for the financial instruments is to have sufficient volumes of simplified financial instruments with high coverage, high cap, and affordable fees, and also generic financial instruments. And I want to use the opportunity to tell you something on behalf of all the SMEs who are using these instruments. And it's towards the community in this room, and it's a big thank you, because the financial instruments really add value.
Thank you, Kirill. I noted full top management support. I can share. But also the importance of a partnership, and you mentioned several of the actors which are in the ecosystems in your country which should collaborate more in order to deliver more on financial instruments. So thank you for that. Nicola, so your turn.
Yeah, thank you.
We're close to Christmas, so wishful thinking, as mentioned by Kirill, is an option.
So a key success factor is a partnership with EIF. I agree with that, because each one has its own role. Region drives the political impulse, the financial commitment, and we also know local SMEs, local territories, and their needs. And on the other side, EIF have the technical and financial expertise to talk to banks at the beginning, during the beginning of the process, but also during audit control. And it's really important for us. And together, I think that we built stability, trust, and efficient tool adapted locally. The challenge, it's perhaps the visibility, the political visibility, because of course SMEs always knows the banks that give them a loan, but they not always know that region and Europe made it possible. And for us, it's really, really important that companies understand that they have a political and financial support of Europe and the region. So visibility is a continuous effort, and perhaps we didn't take into account sufficiently at the beginning, because with more partners, it's diluted. And on my wish list, I will say perhaps pre-financing, because even if we have Europe financement at the beginning, in advance, but the main Europe money arrives later. And so, to make the system work, regions have to pay in advance. And on a situation like today in France, with a stronger financial pressure, it's tough to absorb, and it's a real challenge for the region. Foster is one more time the first budget of our economic budget next year. So we need to have a permanent political support to do that. It's definitely not a criticism. Of course, it's just a reality of our model, and we deal with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas. Yeah, I take note of this pre-financing, particularly when region or countries are in a more than usual stress situation. Political visibility, or in general visibility of the financial instruments, so to take into account that there is a joint effort from the European Union to the member states, through the region and through the financial instrument. It's not always obvious for the final recipients to understand all the chain of support. And I guess the permanent political recognition and support is also extremely important. So no, thank you for that. Paolo, yes. Over to you. So some key success factors and wishful list, if it's possible.
Yes, I repeat more or less what my colleague said before. For us, it's been very important the dialogue, the partnership, but the coordinated, a dialogue coordinated. But if I remember well, because I was there, I think that it has been very useful to engage from our Lombardy region, at the beginning of the programming, and not during the programming period. So for us, it has been very useful to understand deeply the need to find some solution, dialogue with the partnership, with the representative of our partnership, and give some solution. So involved to at the beginning. And I just another words, but I repeat my colleague, my French colleague. It's important to have in this dialogue promotional financial bank. So what does it mean? Promotional is a particular bank that is not making a profit, no, in their job, so they can understand better the rules of private banking, but at the same time they don't lose the public sensitive. So I hope in the future to involve at the beginning of the new period, and at the same time to have recognized our role and our competence.
Thank you, Paolo. So what I retain, so for you also the importance of the partnership dialogue with all the parties, the early engagement of the region, which took probably illuminated position to be one of the first in Europe to go for financial instruments, and also the role of the regional, in this case, promotional banks, which help a lot, understands the financial metrics, but on the other hand is not bound to maximize profit, but to support the economy within the region. So thank you for that. Emily, over to you. So
thank you.
Key success factors.
Key success factors are, I think, from a Fee Compass perspective, it has to be teamwork. So I think that's teamwork in relation to EIB and the Commission teams, and the way in which we share ideas and feedback and challenge each other to constantly try and find ways to improve the platform and make it as relevant as possible for you. But also teamwork in the wider sense with you as the wider community, because you have also frequently given us your ideas and feedback also, which has been extremely useful and valuable to make sure the platform is as relevant as it can be for you too. In terms of what I would have liked to have done differently, or what would be on my wish list, I think it would have been amazing if Compass had been around in 2007. I mean, just imagine how many more financial instruments we would have had today if we'd have had it for that bit extra. And also, I think it would have been great, and it may still be great, if FECompass could provide advisory support to you all in relation to all forms of financial instruments. So go beyond the world of shared management only, but also look at centrally funded financial instruments and other financial instruments like RRF, because I think Frank mentioned it as well. We need to make best use of the resources we have available to us. So central and shared financial instruments need to be combined successfully as possible. And you guys in this room have the knowledge and expertise to best help us navigate that. So I think we should be really harnessing that knowledge and expertise and building on that and going a little bit broader. But that's just my Christmas wish list. Thank you, Bruno.
Very good. No, thank you, Emily. So what I retain is, of course, teamwork, but for the wider community. Maybe we should have thought earlier FECompass in 2007. That would have accelerated the use of financial instruments, and also the possibility to advise on all the forms, would that be centralized or share management in terms of, in this case, EU resources, but let's add national and regional resources as well. In this, and also private sector, which is an important component. Very good, so we have a few minutes left for some questions, and in order to decrease risk, I got a note, we prefer having the old way, so you raise your hand, as opposed to technology of Slido. So raise your hand, and there will be a microphone which will be with you in a matter of seconds, and then ask your name, organization, and the question. I don't see any, so I rely on the people in the room. If there are any hands on, I really don't see much. So it was all clear, no doubts, no wish. You can also have a wishful list, by the way. So in case nobody, so all the wishes were satisfied. Okay, very good. Here, second row, actually third row, lady in the third row, there. So your name, organization, and your question or your comment.
Hello, Martina from Bulgaria, Syscredit.
Okay.
So I think that I got the answer of my question, but generally speaking, from your experience, do you think that offering broader financial instrument with, let's say, more target groups is better and more efficient than having tailor-made financial instrument for specific group?
Inga, you to ask first.
Okay, it depends. We can start another discussion about generalistic financial instruments or focused financial instruments. It really depends. It depends on the size of a country. It depends on the size of the community or the clients, number of the clients you want to reach. In our case, I'm representing Lithuania, which is one of the smaller countries in the EU. So actually, we are setting much more generalistic financial instruments. Otherwise, we would not have sufficient number of clients, in those instruments, and they would not be efficient. But we also have specifically dedicated financial instruments for defense and security sector. Why? Because we are, I don't need to tell, but in any case, we are in the eastern flank, and the security and defense is our main topic at the moment, not only at the moment, but since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, and it will last. So we are thinking in Lithuania that the defense, we have to strengthen this sector. And so that's why we have a focused instrument. Otherwise, we have much more generalistic and broader instruments. Kirill.
What's your opinion?
I vote on one hand for generalistic instruments because the business needs also general support, but the focused instruments really add value, and I just give the example with the urban development funds, which really make a huge difference on the market.
Thank you. Nicola.
Yes, I agree. I think that for a region, the main tools are generic instruments. But I also agree that for co-investor instruments, like we saw today in defense and security, it could be useful too.
Okay, Paolo, your opinion, more generalistic or specialized target?
So it's a good question, absolutely, because we have two duty to do something tailor-made because we operate in a regional territory, but at the same time we have to attract the private sector. So we need to engage in a standardized way. I think that the point that we have to understand is the right economy of scale, just to consider both the duty, because we need to find something specific for our region, for a particular territory or particular sector, but at the same time we need to attract the private sector. And the private sector, in Italy, for example, we have Banca Intesa, Unicredit, etc., that they operate at national level. So why they have to interest at our financial instruments? So we have to find a right equilibrium.
Thank you. Emily.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it depends on the market failure that you're trying to address and the objective you're trying to achieve. But from an EIB perspective, obviously, big is beautiful. We're a wholesale lender, so we need scale to engage. So that would suggest the generalist approach.
Very good, thank you. We still have some time to take another question from the audience. I don't see any. Yes. It's a gentleman. It's 1 to 6 row. Very good.
Thank you.
No, the microphone is not working. 1 second.
Is it working?
Not yet, not yet. But there is a plan B coming up.
Yeah, this one should be working.
Very
yeah.
good.
Sorry for that.
So your name, organization, and your comment or
Well,
question.
I'm Paving Konings from the Netherlands. I'm a consultant there. So I was just wondering, because I haven't heard the word Draghi report as of yet. Since last year, of course, we are in a sort of well, it's a moment of time, so to say, where a lot of politicians now shout out, we have to invest much more. We have to invest 800 billion euros every year now. A large chunk of that will be private money, but there will also be public money. But we really have to speed up investments. And the question is basically, do we expect this political pressure on spending more money on our economy will also have an effect on the use of financial instruments? And should we take into account that we have to speed up and enlarge these instruments?
Very good, thank you. Inga, would you like to give a first try?
We need not only to enlarge the instruments, but we also need to somehow attract private funding to fund what is necessary for the EU economy. So in this case, actually, the guarantee instrument is very, very effective instrument, meaning that you have to allocate only the money which would go for guarantee payments in case of defaults, but you are in a kind of supporting the loan, the amount of loans or leasing transactions or even factoring transactions much bigger than the funds which are allocated for the guarantee payments. So in essence, we are sitting here on the stage because we are fans of the financial instruments and we love them and we are implementing them and we are introducing them as much as possible. Not everything can be solved with the financial instruments, but in essence, yes, I agree that actually we have to increase the allocations, but we have to find very effective and the best ways how to really engage the private sector in the funding of a necessity of the EU.
Thank you. Kirill?
And my opinion is that keeping in mind the very ambitious target the EU is setting and the scarcity of EU budget, yeah, the financial instruments are a must, but in a clever way.
Thank you. Nicolas.
Yes, I think it's we don't have to forget that to have a leverage effect, we have to find private funds. And for instance, if you want to build an equity fund on defense, you have to find a private that want to invest in defense, and it's not something that you can do in 1 or 2 days. So of course, I believe that it will develop in the next years, but it won't be tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Paolo, you would like to add something?
Don't forget that we represent in a structural fund 80 or 10% of the use of the European resources. So we have to understand our duty. But for the next period, but I think that we have give some example to propose at our level our bouquet of financial instrument as a proposal for the new programming period. Don't forget also the other pilastro, competitiveness, because I think that we can find other solution. But at the same time, so we have to reinforce our. I'm sure that will be engagement more than now from our region, because we have to do more with the less. So the problem is remains the same. About Mr. Draghi report, but also Mr. Letta, I think that something pressure will arrive, but we have to find our start ready to start.
Thank you. Emily.
Thanks. So yes, I think we need to enlarge. I think we need to do more to also bring EIB's own financial firepower into play in the area of financial instruments. And I also think we need to do what we can now to really speed up and expedite the setup of financial instruments, so that it's much easier for you all to do more in the future. And it should for sure be a lot more difficult for you to manage grants and create grant programs than financial instruments, in an ideal world, of course. But we will get into all of those topics in more detail tomorrow, Bruno, won't we? Tomorrow we're looking at the next MFF, so maybe we hold those thoughts for further exploration then. Thanks.
Very good. So we still have a couple of minutes for a last question, very quick. Okay, so Martina again. And so can we give priority to there is somebody at the end of Martina? You already spoke. So let's. It's at the end of the room. Yeah. Thank you, Martina. Works. Very quick question, which deserve a quick answer, because we are getting close to the end of this session.
I hope you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Katharina Heilbronn. I'm here on behalf of the Managing Authority of the German Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund. We're currently working on setting up, for the first time, a financial instrument, and I've heard before that some of you think it is better to implement just something and quick, and now I've heard a couple of times that it's better to combine a financial instrument with a grant. So I was wondering, if you were in our shoes and you had to set something up from the beginning you've never done before, and it has to be quick and simple, is it worth it, so to speak, to combine it and add another layer with a grant? Or would you just say, okay, go with a financial instrument and keep it simple?
I will give the floor to Paolo, which was involved into financial instruments quick and with combination.
Yes. But I think that the combination of financial instrument with a grant, it will be our road that we have to follow in the future. Of course, with a capital rebate, as I said before, but also with a guarantee or grants combined with loans. If I understand better the question is how we have to choose a financial instrument and not grants. I think that financial instrument is, in our experience, demonstrated that you can demonstrate that effectively you are helping somebody, because the effect of financial instrument start at the beginning. You can give the money at the starting of your investment, but you follow the comeback of this resource during several years. 3, 5, 10 years, based over the duration of loans. This is very interesting because you are helping in this way a small medium enterprise that want growth, and if you have not performing loan, I think that this you can demonstrate that this action, this public action, had been successful. When you give grants, is not you have not this comprehension. There is not a very co-responsibility that you can follow during the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Paolo. That was very good. So I guess we're leaning towards the end of this session, and join me with a big round of applause for the panelists, for the panel members. So with 32 seconds of delay, I give back the floor to Anna for completing the next session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you. Ooh. All good? Great. No one got hurt, yes? Great. Excellent. So thank you very much to all the speakers for sharing the insight with us in this session. And thank you also to Bruno for moderating this session. I left it on the very capable and safe hands of Bruno. So now it's time for this last stretch of this very first day at FI Campus 2025. And this is a part of FI Campus that I think everyone anticipates with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of energy, because we are going to be hearing here the pitches for the Showcase 2025. So in case that you don't know what we are talking about, so since 2029, maybe, still back then, since we were talking before about, the next 10 years and so on, I'm getting ahead of myself. But since 2019, at FI Campus, we are organizing the Showcase Award, which means that we are celebrating our 4th edition so far. It's a very special opportunity to give the floor to the change makers behind some of the most impactful projects that are supported by EU shared management financial instruments. This is an opportunity for them to share achievements, exchange insights, and celebrate the collective impact that we are creating across Europe with the EU shared management financial instruments. So over the course of the summer, FI Campus invited its practitioners to share their success stories through a little slide deck, through a little pitch deck, and 13 projects were shortlisted that are going to be presented shortly here on stage. For the first time, we're going to be having a total of 3 categories. So we're going to have 1 award for growing impact, 1 award for constructive collaboration, and another one for innovation. And this is where you come in, because we're going to be hearing 13 pitches today here on stage, just very shortly. But to vote, you will have to use the app. that I introduced at the very beginning of the event, the events app. If you have any questions or struggling to download it, at the registration desk, we'll be there to assist you, and there's a little corner there where they can provide you with some help in order to be able to log in. So you can otherwise scan the code on this slide to find out how to vote. So each one of you will have 3 votes, 1 per category. So, as I said before, you will also be able to find a little slide deck with all the projects on the tablets at the end of the room. And very important, the voting will be open until tomorrow at 2 p.m., tomorrow just after lunchtime. So you have just this session right here, the networking cocktail, and the morning just until lunch to make up your mind on who the winners for each category are going to be. So the 3 projects that get the most votes for each category will receive the Showcase Trophy tomorrow afternoon during the award ceremony. I heard it's a really, really beautiful trophy. So now, for those of you who will be pitching, can I have a show of hands with all the people who are going to be pitching here on the room? Can I ask all of you to raise your hands? Can I ask everyone in the room to already give them a big round of applause? Amazing, because what they are about to do here is not easy at all, because we will be quickly going from one pitch to the other one. And there's a very important rule, which is that all of you will have to stick to 2 minutes. And by 2 minutes, I mean 2 minutes. So when your time is over, you will hear a little ring, a little gong. If I can have it playing. We won't have to wait 2 minutes for that, hopefully. Yeah? So those of you who will be presenting after that, after this sound, after this bell, it means that your time is over. And I will have to take back the floor. So make the most of these 2 minutes, stick to the most important points, and be your most convincing selves, all right? So let's start with the first one of the categories, which is going to be the growing impact category. And I would like to start by welcoming the presenter for the showcase number 1, which is a project called Foster of Région Occitanie. So let's welcome with a big round of applause, Nicolas Buissel. Welcome. Or welcome back. Excellent, Nicolas, take it away.
Thank you. Hello again. I'm pleased to present Foster Occitanie again then. So no surprise here. Our original idea is public money should rotate. Public money should attract private investment. Public money should build long-term financing. Foster is a fund of fund. It's an adaptive toolbox. That means it can always help a young startup in Toulouse or Montpellier to scaling up quickly, but it also allows traditional SMEs or farmers in rural area to modernize, to develop, and to reduce their carbon impact. Our key success is EIF partnership. It creates confidence. And so financing network with a simple message. Occitanie is a safe place to invest. Our result is huge. More than 9,800 companies finance, supporting more than 59,000 jobs, and more than 2.1 billion euro in total invest, thanks to a strong leverage effect. And the icing on the cake is that it's a revolving mechanism. Money returns and reinvests again and again. So it's a sustainable engine for innovation, investment, and transition. In short, Foster is a proven, resilient financial system for 15 years. And our ambition is clear. Strengthen the model and ensure every SMEs and farmers access to finance wherever they are in our territories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicolas, for this first speech. Thanks a lot for sticking to time. Perfectly. Thanks. So thanks a lot for this first one of the pitches. Now let's welcome the next project that will be showcased. The title is From Vision to Impact, the Growth of Urban Development Funds in Bulgaria. Let's welcome with a big round of applause, Anthony Margaritov. Welcome.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. In public finance, we often hear the saying, we need more money. Well, our story follows a different path. We asked, how can we make the money we have work better and for longer? And it all began in 2018 when Fund Flag was created with one goal: give municipalities access to affordable and flexible finance. Only a few years later, we were selected as the UDF in Sofia for the 2007-2013 period. And although the funding was only 25 million euro, it taught us how powerful financial instruments can be as catalysts for urban regeneration. Building on this experience, the Sustainable Cities Fund was set up in 2018, and we became the UDF for Sofia and southern Bulgaria in the 2014-2020 period, expanding our reach and funding to over 160 million euro. Coming back to the present, we were recently selected to manage the next iteration of UDFs, which now combine loans and grants in a single operation for the first time. In total, starting in 2026, we plan to provide at least 230 million euro to final recipients. In total, our work thus far has supported over 150 projects with over 350 million euro in financing. And over time, we've successfully moved from one-off loans to revolving funds, from a single city to national coverage, and from financing isolated projects to supporting entire local communities. Each repayment has seeded the next project, and every project has strengthened the next city. Before concluding, I invite you all to have a look at the project examples we've provided, as they truly show the difference these instruments can make. And they've helped us win awards here before, so I'm hopeful they can do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anthony, for this speech. Perfectly on time. Excellent. So now let's move on to the third project within the growing impact category. Let's welcome with a big round of applause the project under the name Entrepreneurship Fund, TEPIC's blended finance mechanism for SMEs competitiveness. And let's have on stage Konstantinos Angelopoulos. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am very glad to represent Hellenic Development Bank tonight and showcase TEPIC, the Entrepreneurship Fund, which is the fund that made the known financial instruments in my country, and is a synonym, I would say, with growing impact, because it's a fund and a financial instrument that is evolving over 3 programming periods, and has helped many, many Greek companies, more than 40,000 Greek companies, to cover their financial needs. It's a fund that has been offering a blending of sophisticated financial tools, risk-sharing loans, guarantees, interest subsidies, and mentoring, covering the challenges that the SMEs companies have been facing during the last 10 years and more than 10 years in Greece. It is an easily accessible tool that leveraged significant private funds and tackled challenges in specific sectors and lately in a specific region. It started back in 2014 and still is going on, with the market asking for more funds to cover the needs of the companies. We are talking about more than 38,000 companies and loans already granted, with a total budget of loans that will exceed 5.5 billion euros. We opened up also a fund for microfinance and a fund to tackle the challenges of climate change in Thessaly region. So it is a fund that has a very big impact in my country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos, and perfectly on time as well. Thanks a lot for this pitch. Now let's move on to the fourth one for the growing impact category. Let's welcome the project Altum Venture Capital Investments and its presenter Ilse Baltabola. Welcome.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce this Altum Venture Capital Fund. Venture capital is one of the most powerful engines for innovation and economic growth. What makes venture capital unique? Its long-term value creation. The full impact of each investment becomes visible over in 10 or 15 years once company major expand and delivery returns back into the economy. And in Latvia, we also see these results very clear. Altum has been investing in venture capital since 2005. In previous generation, venture capital funds invested more than 122 million of public funding. The companies supported through these investments have since grown their turnover more than 85% and contributed more than 116 million euro in taxes. And this is a clear demonstration how public capital in collaboration with private sector multiplies value and impact. What we learn from our previous experience, public capital can catalyze a private ecosystem. Professional fund managers are a backbone of the long-term sustainability, and regional scale and cross-border cooperation are essential in venture capital investment. Altum have supported several companies that develop private labels, wellness product, industrial waste recovery, and more. And what we could say in the conclusion, the venture capital found in Latvia helping build growing future, creating jobs and fostering innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ilse. We still have 2 projects left within the growing impact category. The first one is the title under financial instruments under the 2014-2020 programming period managed by FMFIB. Let's welcome Nadia Christova on stage.
Hello everyone. Let me start with a simple question. What does impact look like? Is it a chart? Is it a number? For us, it's a story. So I will present the story of Fund of Fund in Bulgaria and 3 concrete examples from our VC, microloans, and UDF support. Fund of Funds was established in 2015, and we are celebrating 10th anniversary this year. For the previous programming period, we invest 1 billion euro in the Bulgarian economy. We support more than 3,500 projects. We generate close to 3% GDP growth. Thanks to the achieved results, we doubled our resources from the previous programming period to this one. And now we have chosen 3 stories to tell you. The first one is about innovation and our VC fund. The company is called Fabrico. It's a software for industrial maintenance and efficiency. The company is part of Morgan Stanley Accelerator program and featured on Times Square in New York. Our second story is about inclusion and our microloans. It's an NGO called The Wonderful Garden. This NGO, the production and sale of vegetables and flowers by people with mental disabilities. This project changed lives as people with disabilities manage to earn income and develop confidence. Our last story is about heritage and our UDF. On Regional Ethnographic Museum.
Nadia, we'll have to cut it off here.
Thanks. Museum.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, but fear not, because you're gonna be able to look at all the stories on the slide decks, on the tablets at the end of the room afterwards. But thanks a lot, Nadia, for your pitch, for your presentation. And now let's move to the last one for the growing impact category. Let's welcome CaixaBank, Spanish centralized management financial instrument for Castilla and León, and its presenter, Carlos Seara Dieguez. Welcome.
Thank you, Ana. Good evening. I'm Carlos Seara from CaixaBank, the private bank institution more commitment to rural area in Spain. Castilla y León is the largest region in my country and leader in farmland. Its main challenges are stopping the population and creating jobs in rural area. 7 out of 10 towns, hear me please, 7 out of 10 towns have fewer than 10 residents per square kilometer, similar to Lapland, where Santa Claus now is very busy. Now, imagine a young farmer who wants to grow lavender in her village, or a livestock breeder who wants to modernize his farm without mortgaging his parents' future. Both seek financial independence to develop their project and keep living where they have chosen, the rural world. Did you know that many of our young people can't access traditional bank financing? Not because they lack ideas, because they lack guarantees. With centralized management financial instrument, let's think about these kind of names. They achieve financial independence through a single window, quickly and easily. Behind this, there are really stories. A family business preserved its tradition and created local jobs thanks to the 80% guarantee. A lavender project brought life back to an early empty village with organic farming, solar energy, and tourism, thanks to the loan repayment terms. Jonathan, this is how we see the real impact. We turn dreams into a feature, and that feature into reality. Thank you for your vote, and it will be my Christmas present.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for presenting CaixaBank's pitch. Yeah, they've already, like all the speakers have said, their wish list in the growing impact category. It's going to be your turn to be voting. Maybe just a quick reminder and one rule that I forgot to add before in the introduction, which is that you cannot vote for your projects of your home country. So yeah, so already the app will make it not possible for you to vote if the project coincides with your own home country. Just for you all to be aware of that and avoid any disappointment and unpleasant surprises. But you can vote for plenty of other really interesting projects from across Europe. Now let's move to the next one of the categories, which is going to be the one on constructive collaboration. So we're going to be looking into constructive collaborations, into different, perhaps maybe even unexpected synergies across different actors. So let's welcome the first project in the category, the first out of 4 that have been shortlisted. Let's welcome a project on cultural heritage in Bulgaria and Vanina Kalakova on stage. Welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to ask you one question. How many of you like traveling? I'm sure all of you do, so I'm going to invite you on a short journey through centuries of history across the lands of today's Bulgaria, where the Romans and Thracians and medieval kingdoms have left layers of heritage that we can still walk through. Everything began when the managing authority created an integrated priority access for cultural tourism and envisaged to be both financing with financial instrument and a grant. These kind of projects were very complex and challenging, but actually they were the one that turned the urban development funds from lenders to true partners to the municipalities. Actually, the partnership was very important in implementing these projects, and that was the reason for their successful fulfillment. Each of these places that we have restored, and there are over 20, tells a story. a story that how constructive collaboration and how smart financing can make things happen and can speed urban development. You can see each of the projects and some of them in our presentation, and if you like them, it would be a pleasure to vote. And moreover, we would like to invite you to Bulgaria to see each of these places. And with smart financing and with strong collaboration, actually the projects happen, and we are not only preserving these places, we are preserving the stories that are telling through centuries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vanina, for your pitch and for the kind invitation to Bulgaria. I will take it very gladly. Let's move to the second one of our projects into constructive collaborations. In this case, we're going to be looking at the Social Impact Fund in the Netherlands and a case study from Rotterdam. Let's welcome Melvin Konings here on stage.
Thank you very much. In the Netherlands, we also have urban deprived areas where many people are unemployed, and we really want to work on that in the Netherlands, how to get people back to work again. And that is very important because work will help people to learn new skills. It will help them to meet new people, help them to integrate in society, and it's very, very important. So instead of investing subsidies or using subsidies in projects one by one, we really decided to have a social impact fund in the city of Rotterdam and use European money to fund that. And that is very important because now we have close cooperation with all kinds of partners. If you provide a subsidy, you basically have a social entrepreneur left alone and to deal with many desks at the municipality to really thrive its enterprise. Now with the fund manager, we can integrate that and we can have a lot of cooperation and really have a one-stop shop for social enterprise in the Netherlands. And it has become very successful, attracting a lot of private investment as well. We have a leverage now of about a factor 6.5. So 1 single euro invested, a public euro invested, is bringing 6.5 private euros invested in these companies. And it has also already resulted in about 1,000 new jobs created for unemployed people, which is a big success for the city of Rotterdam. And now it's working towards other cities in the Netherlands, towards The Hague, Amsterdam, Utrecht. So it's really a success. It starts really small, but then it starts to grow, and that's very nice. Thank you very much. Vote for Rotterdam.
Thank you very much, Melvin, for this pitch. Now let's go from the Netherlands to La Réunion. Let's welcome our next speakers who will talk to us about their project on Regional Investment Assistance Fund for Businesses. Let's welcome Yusuf Kadje and Severin Nirlo. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We are very proud to represent La Réunion, one of the EU's French outermost region in the Indian Ocean, very far away from here, where distance and structural challenges often make access to finance a real obstacle for small businesses.
Exactly, Severin. And that precisely was why FAIR was created in 2024 in December. We realize that traditional loans simply won't reach young companies and micro-enterprises. Banks consider them too risky.
So we told ourselves, what if we share that risk? What if public and private actors work together to change the game?
And that's how FAIR was born, a financial instrument based on risk sharing. Public funds cover up 50% of each loan portfolio, giving our partner banks, BFCOE, BRED, and CIPAC, is Société Générale Group, and Banque Populaire and Caisse d'Épargne, the confidence to finance entrepreneurs they will normally turn away.
And because we are both the regional authority and the ERDF managing authority, we built a tool in partnership with EIF and the banks so that we can have lower interest rates, lighter guarantees, and loans long enough for projects to breathe. So let's bring this life with a real story. Yusuf, remember Le Bonito, a gourmet restaurant rooted in local fishing tradition?
Yes, they come to the bank with a strong concept but not enough collateral. Thanks to 150,000 fair loan, they open, create jobs, support local supply, and help revitalizing the Saint-Denis Center, is the main town of Réunion.
And the power of partnership, public vision, combined with private expertise, that's fair. Thank you for your vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to our colleagues from La Réunion, Yusuf and Séverine, for this presentation. Just on time, just on the clock. And from La Réunion, let's move to Corsica. Let's hear from the Casa de Développement de la Corse and Jean-Michel Catani. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great honor to be here tonight and to represent Corsica and CADEC. CADEC is an old financial institution, even older than FICOMPAS, whose activity is to finance SMEs in Corsica, mainly with zero-rate loans. I think you all know Corsica, the sandy beaches, Napoleon, but I'm not sure you know about Corsican SMEs. Corsican SMEs are very small SMEs and are the least indebted businesses in France. So back in 2010, there was a major challenge for the policymakers, is how to help SMEs to invest. And the decision of the Assemblée de Corse was to give a rebirth to CADEC, inviting local banks to join the company's capital. And 15 years after, the result was that almost 3,000 SMEs have been co-financed by local banks and public funds to generate a global investment of 1.2 billion euros. And meanwhile, those 15 years, 3 programming periods, we managed to mobilize 30 million euros with European funds in collaboration with managing authorities and local banks. And for the next 4 years, we also have 20 million euros. So to conclude, I would say that we are really proud to bring European funds as close as we can to field actors. That's what we achieved in these 15 years, and we made it easy. Everybody say, European funds, it's difficult. No, we made it easy. So vote for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean-Michel, for wrapping up the pitches in the category of constructive collaborations. Wow, there's a lot to choose from, and I think very difficult decisions that will be made in already the 2 categories that we have witnessed so far. So we have the last category with us, the category of innovation. And we have 3 projects that will be presented, and they are nominated under this category. Let's start by welcoming, coming from Hungary, the National Technology and Intellectual Property Ventures Capital Program. And let's welcome Matt Bato on stage.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody, and welcome to the innovation session. We have decided to present to you our financial instruments through a project because we think that the values of the financial instruments can be caught the best through a concrete project that can show the real values. So our instrument is the National Technology and Intellectual Property Program that finances the early stage development phase of the project. So this is the phase where an idea turn into the project. So this is a real risky investment. Most of the ideas will never be a project. So we work with state-backed instruments, and we work mainly with state-backed financial intermediaries as well. And our sample project from this area is the Herbo project This Herbo is a chemical-free detergent that was invented by a mother who cared a lot and worried a lot about the sensitive skin of her children, and tried to invent on the basis of washing not not products but some ideas how to use it. And this is the point where the financial instruments can enter, and the main idea how the personal experience can be an innovative product, how a personal experience can be turned into the product that can be sold on the market. And this is the task of the financial instrument. And in our presentation, you can see many detailed information, what was the success factors, what was the main market expectation that has to be fulfilled by the project. In this case, I think most of the project owners meet the same issues. Of course, it's the work of the complex project team from the final recipient till the managing authority. And please vote for this project because it can show you how these ideas can be a product. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks a lot to Mark for this speech. Now we have two of them left. Let's welcome with a big round of applause the Banco Português de Fomento, which will present their Capitalizar Mais guarantee. Let's welcome Elena Pérez, Hugo Cardoso, and Abel Mascareñas on stage.
Hello everyone. So we are Banco Português de Fomento. We are the National Promotional Bank of Portugal. And we believe that when we stand with our companies, when we invest in our companies, when we give people a fair chance, we can say we are creating a Portugal with a future. We exist to make sure that talent is never wasted for lack of opportunity, and ambition is never blocked by lack of financing. In this year, 2025, we have more than 20 financial instruments on the ground. We have supported more than 14,000 companies, and we have put in the economy 10 billion euros. So we are doing more with less.
Good afternoon, everyone. Capitalizar Mais Guarantee Line, it's a hybrid financial instrument with 1.6 billion euros financing for enterprises. One guarantee, one counter-guarantee, a commercial loan, and a grant to cover the costs of the interest and the guarantee fee. By covering 80% of a loan risk, we open doors for thousands of companies that needed to invest, to grow, to innovate.
So, and by combining bank loans with grants, we multiplied the impact of European funds with a multiplier effect of 8 times. The results speaks for themselves. 119 million euros in public investment leveraged into more than 1.6 billion euros of financing. That's just not a statistic. That's factories expanding, digital tools being created, jobs being created. So please vote in Capitalizar Mais, vote for Portugal. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot to Elena, Hugo, and Abel. Now we're moving to the last one of our pitches this afternoon, early evening. Let's welcome Microsmart Greece, demonstrating innovation, and with us is Neoklis Stamkos. Welcome.
Hello everyone, thanks a lot for the invitation, and I have to thank Fine Campus because for the last 10 years with these cases and the support, we find out, at least in Greece, promoting that these things happening abroad. Now in Greece we have a microfinance sector. 10 years ago it was just a question. So thanks a lot for that. So for Microsmart I want to present 2 innovations that we have developed in the last 2 years. One is our AI usage of mentoring tool. We use artificial intelligence. It's not so intelligent by focusing on taking the intelligent part of it. So we can create a tailor-made mentoring for each client with reducing the time up to 70% of giving him exact information on what he needs and how to use it. So our BDS officers don't lose time on things that are not useful. So we focus exactly what the clients need. And the second innovation that we have used, using against an AI instrument with a lot of Python automation, to support our clients that want to submit applications to the microfinance fund established by Hellenic Development Bank. We have seen that people find difficulties in that part because they have to use 3 different platforms to do the submission. We have created an automation that when they do, everything can be done just like that, and no intermediaries to be involved, no consultants, no to spend time and money for others to assist them on their loan application. So we have reduced time up to 80% of the application process, and especially a lot of time, a lot of money that are not paid out around. So thanks a lot for the invitation, and vote for Greece.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Neoklis. And with this, we wrap up our round of pitches here for the Showcase 2025. Can I ask for a big, big round of applause for all of the presenters that we had here on stage? We had 13 very interesting projects we've been seeing from across stakeholders, across topics, across financial instruments, and with a lot of impact behind them. So I'm sure that it's going to be a tough choice for many of you. So without further ado, let's wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for your attention and active participation, and see you back tomorrow.